If there is one creator that a lot of Star Wars fans have faith in, it is no other than Jon Favreau and also Dave Filoni, but Favreau is really leading the actual series to propel Star Wars in a better path for the overall Star Wars fandom, and to really kind of revive and resurrect many different aspects of Star Wars Legends that's going to enter into the official Disney canon. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, given that there are a lot of Star Wars shows on the horizon that will be announced next year at D23 and Celebration, they also have a handful of other announcements to make outside of those other events. So, when focusing on Jon Favreau, he's been a lot more talkative recently. He's been revealing more about his visions and his concepts and ideas for the future of the franchise and where it's all really going to lead and what he's actually inspired from. And that really just brings us to also being inspired by Jon Favreau. Now, the thing about Favreau is that Bob Iger once said, as much as I do criticize Bob Iger, the previous Disney CEO, he did openly make something very clear that is, I believe, fact, is that Jon Favreau is pretty much the next George Lucas, and how Iger said he sees a lot of George within him. And Favreau has the spirit of Lucas. He's got that intact. So, moving on forward from all of that, that brings us to what Favreau recently had to say and inform the fans that I believe is really going to actually excite the overall Star Wars fandom. So, let's get into it right now. So, with that being all done and said, and everything related to Favreau, is that, on top of that, with Disney executives now getting more involved with fixing the Star Wars franchise and bringing it on a better path through Favreau and Filoni. However, in a recent interview with Jon Favreau about the future of Star Wars, he went on to make a very big announcement for the Star Wars fandom, and what to expect in their next batch of shows that will be announced. Favreau went on to state the following: "It has always been my dream to handle some of the legacy characters, and one of my favorites is without a doubt Darth Vader. Myself and Filoni have a very special treat for the fans on how we are going to be utilizing Vader in multiple new projects and shows that we are creating, and for those wondering, we are dedicating to making and putting this into live action as a priority for fans. We have plans to explore so many different angles of Darth Vader and to also test our limits with the character." Let me pause here quickly for a second. Now, the thing about Vader that really is getting a lot of people out there excited, we already know that Vader is going to be in Ahsoka. A lot of scenes were filmed for Darth Vader, by the way. This is most likely going to be visions and or flashbacks, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. So Filoni's handling Vader on that end of the spectrum. When we go ahead and look at Favreau, he's talking about specifically what's going to become of Vader beyond 2023, with all of the other Star Wars shows that have yet to have been announced. That's what he's alluding to. And that really does boost the excitement level, because, by the way, we have yet to have received a version of Darth Vader by Favreau and Filoni. And Favreau even stated before in the past that he believes Vader needs to be ruthless, he needs to be, without remorse, and a very dark-driven character with some complexities behind the scenes of himself as Anakin, that there's a shred of Anakin left in there somewhere. Even Filoni said that he believes in that as well. So, on top of all of that too, he goes on to actually say this to the fans: "I always had told Deborah Chow that I would have handled Vader differently if I was involved with the first season of Kenobi, but getting the chance to speak with Hayden and planning out our ideas and visions to become a reality has been so fun and thrilling to say the least." So again, he's right there telling us that he was already in the talks with Hayden. This kind of dates back to what we have been talking about, of how Hayden does indeed have a multi-show contract deal. Alright, so he's not just coming back for what was done in Kenobi, but he's also coming back for the Kenobi reboot, as we have been talking about, as well as other shows that will be announced later down the road. And we talked about that also multiple times. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. So Favreau making it openly clear here to the fans around the globe that actually just cherish this franchise and really don't take it for granted. Because when you go ahead and look at what Favreau is doing, is that he is keeping George's dream alive. He's trying to essentially patch together the broken pieces that Kathleen Kennedy left behind, and to just move forward, to just forget, and to really embrace, you know, the positivity of all the great things on the horizon. And that's what his dream is. So, moving to the next thing here, he goes on to openly say to the fans, "We are going to put Vader in many positions where he will be interacting with some characters that fans have dreamed of and are also not expecting to see in live action, and I just cannot wait for you all to see it for yourselves. This is truly going to be something that we are capturing from Legends, and having Hayden back is just a gem to all of us to fulfill the fans and us as creators." So, what Favreau is also pointing out here is that Vader is going to be interacting with characters that we have been asking for a very long time, as well as characters that we have not actually been expecting. Now, this could really range on multiple different levels. Of course, we already know that Vader is going to have some kind of scene with Ahsoka in the Ahsoka series. That's to be expected, and that actually was done and filmed. So, Favreau stating how Vader's going to be interacting with characters that we have all dreamed of, that definitely is alluding to that, but the ones that we are not expecting is a real mystery. The fact that he actually says that Vader will be interacting with characters, some of which that we are not expecting. So who could that possibly be? That's the biggest question of all, right? That's something where you kind of have to use your brain a little bit and wonder, how are they going to think outside the box, and how Vader's going to interact with characters that we would have never even thought of. Alright, what characters can we really dwindle that down to when it comes to the list, right? That's something that I would love to hear you guys talk about below in the comments. You know, what characters are on the unexpected list by Favreau and Filoni that Vader's going to interact with? I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all of that. So, of course, this is their extensive plan. They want to make sure that the legacy characters are going to thrive and survive in this new take on Star Wars, and how Disney executives are now respecting the fandom to a whole new level, because they finally realized that things need to be pretty much propelled in a better path. It does. It just has to happen, and it is happening. You know, it took a very long time. It took a couple of speed bumps with the KENOBI show and Boba Fett, but things are looking on track now with Mando 3, Mando 4, Ahsoka, and a whole lot more on the horizon. So, Favreau, I gotta say, I mean, he's doing a great job so far. He's got his head on straight along with Filoni as well. And I cannot wait to see how Vader is going to be utilized by Favreau and Filoni's vision. They believe that Vader has to be very dark and ruthless. We could very well be getting a darker version of Vader than what we have seen in the KENOBI series easily. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.